The American Revolution began in 1765 and ended in 1791. There were two major parties, the British Empire and the 13 colonies. The British Empire imposed coercive force on the 13 colonies through the use of taxation and the creation of acts. This led the 13 colonies to revolt and begin their own form of government. The British Empire wanted to continue to grow and develop. In order for the British Empire to help fund the other colonies, they needed to charge tax on the 13 colonies. This tax was called the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act is when they made people from the 13 colonies purchase stamps for a portion of the initial cost of the item they wanted to buy. For example, if someone wanted to buy an apple that cost $1, they would need to buy a stamp that cost 25 cents. They would then need to bring the stamp with them when purchasing the apple, so the total would come out to $1.25. In Goldstone's Process of a Revolution, the first step in the elite defection and formation of opposition. This is where the government initially upsets society, and when the society realizes that they disagree with the government, much like when the acts were being implemented by the British Empire and people of the colonies did not agree. March 18, 1766, the Stamp Act was removed, but the British Empire implemented the Declaratory Act. This act gave the British Empire full rights to create any law they wanted for the 13 colonies. In October of 1768, the British Empire decided that enforcement was needed, so they sent out their troops to enforce the laws. In March of 1770, the Boston Massacre took place. The British troops shot 4 innocent workers. This caused an outrage with the 13 colonies. In December 1773, the Massachusetts Patriots wanted to protest the Tea Act. They decided to dress up as Mohawk Indians and dump crates of tea into the Boston Harbor. Following in January of 1774, Benjamin Franklin got caught by the Privy Council for leaking letters which were damaging to the royal governor of Massachusetts. April 1775, George Washington takes control of the Continental Army because shots were fired at Lexington and Concord, and the Minutemen attempted to push the British troops back to Boston. On December 1776, the Delaware River was crossed by George Washington. Along with crossing the river, he captured Hessian force at Trenton, New Jersey. This grand act of heroism got many people on his side. According to Goldstone, these 6 incidences represent steps 3 of the process of the revolution. This is where the people take action and revolt. Situations always get worse before they can get better. In January of 1775, Common Sense by Thomas Paine is published. This book becomes a bestseller. Thanks to the book, it seemed the colonies got closer, and this brought them closer to independence. This is a representation of polarization, which Goldstone refers to as Step 2. In this step, the goal is to typically move away from the government that is in state and begin to become more independent. July 4, 1775, Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence was approved by the Congress. This is Step 4 of the Process of Revolutions by Goldstone. This is the initial regime change. This is where there is an actual change in power. The Declaration of Independence is the first major step for the 13 colonies to become the Americas. July of 1775, the British force comes to New York Harbor with intentions of stopping the rebellion. This is Step 4, the counter-revolution. Once the British Empire realizes that they are losing the 13 colonies, they try to overpower the colonies in an attempt to regain their initial power. In December 1776, Benjamin Franklin was sent to France by the Congress in an attempt to create an alliance because America was in desperate need of money and weapons. In February of 1778, France signs a treaty creating an alliance with America. When this treaty was signed, this officially turned the American Revolution into an international war. International war is a common step for most revolutions, as Goldstone shows through his Process of Revolutions. In September of 1783, Great Britain and the United States signed a peace treaty. In 1787, the Confederation Congress adopted the Northwest Ordinance. This does not allow slavery in any territories. It also allows new states to enter the Union. In May, all delegates from the 13 states meet in Philadelphia because the Articles of the Confederation need to be rewritten. On September 18, the National Constitution was passed by the Constitutional Convention, but it needs to be signed from 3/4 of the states. In 1788, Virginia and New York became the 10th and 11th states to pass through the Constitution. In December of 1791, the First Congress of the United States passes a Bill of Rights. These are all huge accomplishments of what has come out of the American Revolution. These 13 colonies have accomplished so much, and they have achieved Goldstone's final step, regime consolidation. This shows that the colonies thoroughly got what they wanted from the Revolution. Overall, Goldstone's process of a revolution is an accurate model for all revolutions. Although the American Revolution does not follow all of the steps, very few revolutions will. Overall, it was a very accurate representation of revolutions.